So we have two TPA kit, or really 3 TPA kits in the hospital. It's a green tackle box. 2 of them are in the emergency room and 1 is in the pharmacy. The ICU will be using the one from the pharmacy. So if we get the go-ahead to give the TPA, someone will have to grab the TPA kit from the pharmacy. And in the TPA kit is really everything that you need. You have your TPA, you have the tubing, you have the dosing cards, all of this. So if you can just take a peek at your dosing card. A couple of things I want to mention to you. You can see that the pounds go by every 2 pounds. So if you have a patient that's, say, 221 pounds, so go to 221 pounds, you're going to round down to 220. So 220 is actually the max dose, 90 milligrams is actually the max dose. So any patient that's over 220 pounds is just going to get that 90 milligram dose. So that's why it's very important to use the card and not to try to do the math from your brain, because the card, you can never overdose the patient if you're using the card. Again, all the ICU nurses, I went through this very thoroughly with them, and I plan they will get an annual competency on this. So they're really going to be the ones mixing. I just want to make sure you guys had some basic knowledge on this. So that's how you do the dosing. I'm just going to pull it up even though you guys have it in front of you. The Alteplase orders, the second page of that Alteplase orders looks exactly like this card. So when we're filling this out, you put the patient's weight here. You can see these 5 boxes correlate with the 5 boxes on your dosing card. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible. It's just an exact copy, the weight, the dose, the discard, the bolus, etc. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to calculate the dose and we're going to start filling this out. And then we need to actually mix the TPA. So in the kit, again, you have 100 milligrams in 100 mLs of sterile water. Very easy, 1-to-1 ratio, and they give you this large bore transfer device. So we have a very corny saying, but because the bore is so big, you want to pierce the powder first. Because if you pierce the powder, nothing's coming out. But if you pierce the sterile water and you invert it, you're going to lose some of that sterile water. So we say clouds over water. Clouds over water, make it rain. Just something to remind you, it is common sense, but in these high stress moments, all of our thoughts go out the window. So clouds over water, make it rain. All of the sterile water is going to go in the powder. And now you have a 1-to-1 ratio, 100 milligrams and 100 mLs of TPA. And then we just use the dosing card, and it's super simple from here. So the first thing that we're going to pull out is our discard quantity. All of the syringes are in the box as well. There's a bigger Toomey style looking syringe. So you can use that to pull the discard because the discard is usually more. So let's say patient is 124 pounds. Our total dose is 50.8. Our discard quantity is 49.2. So the first thing that I'm going to do out of this 1-to-1 ratio, 100 milligrams and 100 ml, is I'm going to pull out that 49.2 and get rid of it. Toss it, drain it, whatever you're going to do with it, but we're going to get rid of that TPA. Then we have a 5.1 bolus dose. Any nurses can give the bolus dose, but if you guys are around, I'd like you to give the bolus. It gets pushed over 1 minute. So it's a slow bolus dose. So in this case, it would be 5.1. So we would then draw up 5.1 out of here, and it gets pushed over 1 minute. And then lastly, you have your infusion dose. So everything that's remaining in this would be your infusion now that the discard and the bolus are out. And this gets hung and ran over the pump over 1 hour. And it's programmable under critical care in the pump. After the infusion is done, so this runs over 1 hour, there's a 50 ml bag of normal saline that also gets hung just to get the rest of the drug out of the line. And there's a spot for the nurse to initial there that he or she has ran that 50 ml bag.